Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the UKLC. We're getting ready to go into game number 2. This is Enclave taking on NVision. Enclave, they lost to Graves mid yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to see Enclave on any Twitter threads today. Tweet the game's happening, but replies, it's off limits today for Enclave. They're in a period of mourning after yesterday because, yeah, Graves mid, Nunu jungle. That's a bad loss. Obviously, I'm poking fun. I love a lot of the guys over Enclave, but yeah, this is a pretty interesting matchup now because Enclave sit 4-4 because of that loss. NVision picked up a win yesterday, and this is now NVision's opportunity to sort of potentially not move truly out of the relegation zone because Bulldog and Lucent still have to play later on today.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity if Bulldog end up losing to Lucent to, for the first time, I believe, not be inside of the relegation zone, or at the very least, bottom 3.
Skumond is going to have his Nunu banned away from him. He didn't pick it up even though it was open yesterday, but it's going to be denied. The Fresh and the Gwen also banned away. So 2 power picks and 1 target pick so far. A picture from here, we're probably just going to see relatively standard bans. But the question is the Nunu takes away a ban, so what is left open in response? And not the Akali is going to be the answer to that first bit.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of sort of a little more here in the UKLC, a little more Viego sort of be a slightly more prominent pick when, we boil down to the very standard bans now. And of course, Diana pretty much universally remains up. I don't think we've really seen many Diana bans, so sort of floating in that limbo of being first pickable, but not necessarily first bannable unless you have a super efficient player at it. And of course, things like the set as well. I think definitely we need to start seeing more of that come out of some of these UKLC teams because I think set plus Diana really, really strong. We see a lot of LPL teams do it, and we've seen the strength of it already in the NLC a couple of times. But Nocturne, final ban, not too surprised. Really, really strong pick. Pretty much broken, really, in all 3 roles, mid, top, and jungle. But it's going to be this Diana most likely for Juanitas.
Karma Ezreal is open, though, if they want to go for that for the side of Enclave. There's a nice, powerful pick there. Xin Zhao is open. The Lulu is open. And they go for the Lulu and the Viego, as their rotation.
Yeah, so sort of coming into the summer season, a lot of the utility comps typically revolved around Lulu Viego and Karma Xin Zhao. Those are kind of like the 2 combinations. Obviously, you can swap out the utility mages because the utility mages, they do roughly similar things. But yeah, pretty strong 1-2 for me from Enclave. I think it's all about the response though from NVision. We're going to see this set come in. And of course, really, really powerful for me. The skirmishing power between Diana plus set, the setup, no pun intended, is really great for the Diana. And it just makes skirmishing really, really nearly impossible, to be honest with you. But with the likes of a Lulu Viego on the top side, potentially, you could start to sway the scales a little bit. Now, I'm more interested in this third pick. Are we just going to see the Ezreal sort of picked up for Fuyu? Are we going to see, maybe a slightly more aggressive pick in the Varus? But yeah, we're going to see that Ezreal. And I look over to Impulse because he's a pretty big Kai'Sa player. And when you've got a Lulu there, it definitely feels nice to lock that one in. But of course, you've got all of the other traditionally strong AD carries up.
Yeah, you got the Varus, you've got the Kai'Sa, which people pick up into the Ezreal as well. There's still a fair few powerful picks open, and I'm assuming we're going to see one of those now because otherwise, you're in a bit of a worrying position where everything's going to get banned away. So they go for the Aphelios here, and just see what they're going to pair up with the Aphelios. Obviously, you're not going to get as heavily punished by an Ezreal versus, something like a Kai'Sa Nautilus lane, but this could still be like a Leona Ezreal or a Nautilus Ezreal lane. So there's still that potential to get bursted.
Yeah, so the Braum ban says to me that NVision are looking for an aggressive support. Enclave, they remove away the Karma because obviously Karma Ezreal is a very irritating lane to deal with for one, but also chucking Karma in a composition with Set plus Diana, it just facilitates those 2 champions so much that it does become a bit of a scary prospect to deal with. So I wonder if Enclave are going to just remove away the Nautilus or whether they want it themselves for rightly. It seems like they want to take Silas off the board for 2 cups. So maybe sort of thinking about a potential sort of global champion in the mid lane for Sykes, or just sort of in general, you've got other champions which do struggle into that Silas. But the Morgana ban, also very interesting. I wonder what they're trying to eye up. It just has to be Nautilus, to me, at least.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see a Leona Nautilus trade, right?
Yeah, if I'm Enclave, though, I'd feel happy to take either or. But for now, it's going to be Xin Zhao locked in. It made it all the way through. Skumond feels like it's the best option. And now Viego most likely going to be in a solo lane, has to be almost. You don't really see lanes. Zhao's at the moment. So that Lulu still flexible between all 3 lanes because Viego is flexible top and mid. So NVision, they have to pick a little diligently here, as flexibility can make some of these lane assignments a little tough.
Well, we're seeing what they're going to look to put 2 cups on. Back to his Lucian, something we've seen him play a lot so far here in the UKLC. And now they'll be looking for the support, unless it's going to be set support in which they want to pick a top laner. So yeah, there is still potentially that. But like you said, I think Nautilus is such a good pick here. They've decided to go for Leona.
Yeah, I mean, Leona, totally fine too. They've banned for it, realistically. So there's no reason to not do it. And now on the Enclave side...
He's open.
Say again?
I'm just trying to think what other supports are open.
I mean, yeah, if Enclave want engage, like Nautilus is the best option. Obviously, yes, sort of the lane matchup might be a bit rough into Leona, but it's something you can forego. But instead, it looks like they're just going to put Lulu bot if this Ziggs hover does get locked in. And it will be locked in. So they're going to put the Lulu bot. I think it's more just because Ezreal is not necessarily the most powerful laner in the early stages. So they feel comfortable laning it into the Leona anyway. Obviously, typically you will see the utility support sort of moved away from these kind of lanes, but it's not a strong laner like Varus or like Kalista. So they feel comfortable running it. So I can understand that. Ziggs also adds a lot of wave clear, and there's so much scaling now to this Enclave draft with the Lulu and the Ziggs and the Aphelios, and they've got a strong top side to play towards. So I think Enclave, definitely a lot of strong win conditions. And on the other side, NVision, same thing. They've got, potentially 3 pretty powerful lanes after Ezreal gets his first recall in personally. And after that, they can kind of play on the map anywhere they want to.
Yeah, they absolutely can. But these are the picks. These are the lanes locked in. How does the Lucian Ziggs lane go? Because I feel like, Lucian wants to be a lane bully, but Ziggs just gets to a point where he just plays the lane uninteractively and just clears waves.
Yeah, I think Ziggs most likely can just play this lane uninteractively, like you say. Lucian dashes forward, you put a minefield down. Lucian starts the culling post 6, you just satchel him out of the culling. There's not really a whole bunch going on there in the early stages. Probably give over priority, but even then, you can probably find, small windows to try and keep the priority even, or even maybe shove a little bit, but you never want to be in range to trade or attacks with Lucian. That's the only thing that can definitely be a bit scary.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, like you say, uninteractive, definitely post level 6.
It's gonna be an interesting bot lane for me, because I feel like mid is gonna probably be fairly uninteresting for 2 cups. I don't think he's gonna really be able to get a kill pressure on Sykes unless Sykes kind of misplays. But this bot lane, you got the Lulu down there, you've obviously got the Leona. Like you said, sure, Ezreal doesn't really have the kill pressure of something like a Varus, but if Leona can stick to either the Lulu or the Aphelios long enough, there is the potential to burst through them. And Impulse, recognizing that, has taken the exhaust in this lane. So, is a bit worried about the potential to be killed in the bot side. Top lane, it's 2 sustain guys. They're not tanks, but they're both lots of sustain. They'll probably just be fighting a lot, but I don't think we'll see too much kill pressure, at least until level 6. I think it feels like it's the junglers are going to have some impact on this map.
Yeah, it's going to have to be down to the junglers. You've got Zinza on one side, obviously you've got Diana on the other. Diana typically wants to wait until 6, and then she's got the move forward, and then her skirmishing becomes a lot more powerful. And I think generally trying to fight into Xin Zhao early on, or trying to skirmish lanes early on, if you don't know where Xin Zhao is, it's a disaster kind of waiting to happen. So I expect a slightly slower paced game from Juanitas and potentially NVision in general, until they hit that level 6 mark. That's when I start to expect to see, probably side lane roams or a couple more explosive team fights. But I think it's very interesting that for me, Impulse has opted for that exhaust. I think when you're dealing with what is effectively just the Leona for engage, Cleanse kind of just nullifies that. Like every other Leona engage, you kind of just remove from happening. But we'll have to see.
It was weird because he had it in the champ select, because you guys here can't see that, but I can see it. He had it and he swapped it later, and I didn't even notice until we got into the loading screen that he'd taken exhaust in this lane. But sorry about the lengthy login to the game. We have finally loaded through and we'll be getting ready to go into our second game of the day. There weren't any pauses. It was just a
long loading,
just a slow loading. Sometimes you get those games where you're like, right, someone's on a potato here. Someone needs to upgrade because this is ridiculous. And
I mean, to be fair, okay, look, upgrading at the moment is a bit tough.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Not great, but we're here. Game number 2, day 2 of our Super Week. week 5.
Is this a super week?
Yeah, we've got a match day on Thursday.
30 seconds until
Oh, it's a
Super
short
week in my book.
NLC week.
Yeah, it's a short NLC week.
Man, I should really know this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Aren't you working on like every single day this week?
Of course I am.
Because you're not ditching me on Thursday, and I think I'm
not
on the
ditching you
NLC
Thursday.
tomorrow.
I
and
think, is it
Wednesday.
next week?
Maybe. I think next week onwards is when I am not on the NLC as much.
Oh.
I've done my time.
Oh, it's not next week. I think it's the week after. But you'll be joined by Viper.
minions have
That'd be nice.
spawned.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe breaking out the information a little early there.
I mean, let's be real. When you're not here, it's normally Viper. So let's
Yeah, because I think he's a wonderful caster.
yeah. Shout out to Viper. And of course, we've got the Hapgood brothers also.
Yeah,
A couple of visits
guess we
in here
do.
as well. They're not so bad. The Hapgood there.
All right, guys, I guess.
Yeah, they're alright. They're okay. But junglers, both on red side start, so pathing to what is, in my opinion, respectively their stronger sides. In terms of like Skumon's pathing, I think pathing down towards the bottom side when the top side is a little volatile in terms of the skirmishing is honestly fine. When you've got Lulu plus Felios, Ezreal is still very much weak, so pathing towards their stronger sides, in my opinion, makes the most sense here. And like you say, these guys up in the top side, they are just gonna fisticuffs the entire time.
It's so much sustain, though. It's gonna be punch, spit a broken tooth out, walk away, come back and punch.
Because that's the thing, especially when you've got, Thorin Shield starts, and then you've got things like Second Wind, and just the innate, like you say, the sustain, right? The regen on DBL side, the passive regen on the Viego side, which I believe they nerfed on this patch, actually. I think you get 50% less healing than you did on the previous patch on creeps.
Interesting.
So,
It was pretty strong. It was pretty strong. There's a lot of prestige skins in this game. DBL, Jonatis, and Old Stones all rocking those. Some Skinny G coming in.
okay. Synergy, I like that one.
Have you never heard that?
I don't think I have.
Oh, I'm not going to take credit for that one. I didn't come up with that.
Is it boomer language?
I don't think
Skinny
Skinny
G.
G. I don't think Skinny G is. I actually have no idea.
Alright.
When did you start playing? I swear you played this game longer than me.
Yeah, I probably played the game longer than you, but I've definitely been casting for a short time.
Yeah, true.
So,
When did you start? What season?
2014, season 4.
Oh, you were the same season as me then.
Oh, okay.
Because Orcs was also end of season 3, start of season 4, which I think was roughly when I started.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing all the way back in season 1/beta, when there was probably around 40 champions or so. But I just didn't really have the friend group to play League of Legends with. And I
Yeah.
didn't find it interesting enough to just kind of go home, play it by myself.
I had back when I was more interested in music than I was video games. The bass player in my band played back in season 1. I remember looking at it and going, that game looks awful. I remember telling him, I was like, this game looks stupid. And here I am, however many years later, with it as my
Decade later.
job.
It's your job now.
How did that happen? I remember being very, very vocal about how I didn't like the look of League of Legends.
Can't judge a game by its visuals all of the time.
True, yeah. Looks like a potential gangster here breaking out as the flash comes out from Impulse to get away, and now Jonasis has to be careful as the Graviton would be able to lock him down for a little bit more free poke, so he just dashes to safety with a Lunar Rush. And just returning to the status quo.
Yeah, nice gank. A little bit of pressure from Quanatis. Not too much threat of Zinzal being down here in most worlds, so happy to take the gank blind. And at the end, they get Impulse Flash, and he doesn't have Cleanse, so if he does decide to return in the next 5 minutes, that is pretty much free lockup. Stones will clear out that ward. Eats a little bit of press for it, but that's neither here nor there. However, mid lane, Skumon potentially looking at 2 Cups, who doesn't actually have a lot of mana. Oh, leveled up. Oh, he ate a biscuit, actually. Never mind. Didn't level up. He's almost level 6. Had a biscuit, so great use of that there.
Skumon's going to find Jonatis, or Jonatis is going to find Skumon. It's a lovely little trade-off as Old Stones is coming in, the flash out. But Jonatis just continues to chase here. is going to get satcheled away, and Scumon able to survive as the teleport was burnt by 2 cups, but realistically he was teleporting back into lane anyway, so not really anything lost there other than Scumon's flash.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, still an up trade for NVision. Old Stone's doing a pretty good job of pressuring the map and just sort of roaming with his jungler in this case. So 2 plays where they're both involved, they force out a flash, and now that just means on the Enclave side of things, gotta play a little more respectfully.
Spikes had flash? I didn't play my play that because I thought he was gonna flash.
That's a strange decision coming out from Sykes. I'm not entirely sure why he didn't flash, but okay. First blood over to 2 cups. And we've seen Lucians take over games off of silly things like that happening.
That's the scary thing about Lucian is, you know, he can just take over a lane. This is a large wave crashing in. Infor has to be careful as his face breaker is thrown down. Slammed him with a suplex, and Jonatis able to secure the kill onto Infor. A large wave will be lost as well. No teleport. And the kill. That's really nice stuff across the board here for the side of NVision.
Mid lane, I'm just not sure what's going on as to why Sykes doesn't flash, but this dive up here, real nice. Infor flashes a little bit late. Still gets hit by the Haymaker. That's just too much damage between Harnesses and DBL, and even some of the creeps stacking under the tower.
It's nice though. It was nice to see, you know, 2 cups find this kill, because at the beginning of the day, you know, we talked a little bit about our tier list, and, you know, you hit on the fact that 2 cups is one of the players who's maybe been a little bit underwhelming. There were high expectations for him coming into the split, and, you know, felt like he hasn't really hit that mark, but just getting a nice early solo kill onto Sykes. Sure, Sykes might have misplayed it a little bit, but, you know, it's also an outplay yourself, so 2 cups able to find that kill. Good stuff for him. We'll see what he can do with it, though. He's got a Cole, he's got a Noon Quiver. It's just looking to, you know, extend this laning phase a little bit more for himself.
Yeah, exactly. Cole gonna come in. I mean, he just doesn't feel pressured, so the extra gold income gonna benefit him in the long run. It is a late Cole pickup, but at the end of the day, like we just said, with no pressure, he's really gonna be cruising. And if he can find another kill, great. He's gonna have the Cole on top of it. So see how things progress. No early neutral focus from either side just yet. Pretty interesting when you think about Xin Zhao being in the game, but priority has been pretty back and forth, and even Diana's don't mind taking early dragons either. But the Herald is now up, so I expect to see some pressure there as, oh boy, Sykes.
Yeah, just get heavily chunked out, but he's A-okay. Jonatis going to be able to secure this dragon. And game state good here for the side of NVision. They're definitely in control of the tempo. They're controlling the map. And there's a couple of wards that have been placed down aggressively by Scumon, but like it's not really like he's actually looking to do anything with those wards. So yeah, it looks like it's just gonna be it. As Sheen has been picked up for Fuyu, building towards that Divine Thunderer, kind of the expected and standard build here. Gone are the days of Essence Reaver and Duskblade. We can see the gold lead now, 1,200 up for the side of NVision. And rightly, what can he do on this Lulu? Because they picked it up early, they decided not to put it in a solo lane, they wanted to put it in a support. They felt like there wasn't too much kill pressure down here. And so far, Impulse has got himself a slight CS lead, although the wave is crashing into Fuyu. So that CS lead should be somewhat alleviated. But it's going to be interesting to see what these bot laners can do.
A lot of scaling on both sides. So we'll have to, like you say, wait until we get those core item spikes in and then sort of judge from there. Definitely feel like Impulse, you know, you've got the Lulu in your back pocket. There's a little more to facilitate him there. Fuyu, at the start of the split, did have a lot of, you know, sort of compositions built around him. Sort of fallen off from that trend, though, NVision have. As time's gone on, seen a lot more Ezreals and just in general champions that don't need that much resources dumped into the AD carry slot.
Well, 10 minutes in, gold lead is 1,000 up still. I just said that a minute ago. Apparently my brain isn't working. His Impulse will be able to pick himself up a bunch of plates, and he is starting to, you know, get himself into a position where Fuyu might start to struggle against him. I might just be a free plater here for Impulses. He's got the good guns for it. He's actually just going to continue to fire away for now. He's going to back off, but the Rift Herald was secured on the other side of the map by Jonatis, and now Jonatis needs to make sure that this Rift Herald will secure at least 3 plates for his team, because otherwise just the kind of cross-play of the map is not going to be in their favor.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, already Enclave, secured the plates that a typical Herald would get. NVision, though, they still sit 1,000 gold up. The kills helping out the dive at the top side of the map as well, where Info lost a lot of CS playing into that. So with the Herald looking to sort of regather some of the plates just lost.
Oh, Sykes, you need to be careful. Satchel's going to use. He's going to be A-OK, although Old Stones might let to jump over the wall.
Still on vision, though.
Yeah. And then there's a pink there, actually. I don't see when that was placed, so I think it was just off camera, but looks like the Dragon, and at least contesting this area, is going to be the name of the game. Obviously, 1 minute 40 until that comes up, and securing this crab now gives you basically a permanent spot of vision to work with for the next little bit of time. As Jonatis maybe looking for a gank here. They've got that wild growth, the Zenith Blade into Solar Flare, into the Moonfall. It's going to get laid down as Impulse is just locked down, and Fuyu will secure the kill. Impulse is dead, and Enclave not really got able to do anything about that. As 2 Cups is taking a lot of damage from Sykes.
Darling even chucked out, but there again the satchel. Yeah, I mean, again, for me, Impulse running the exhaust, I feel like Cleanse. Like, if he doesn't get locked up, it could just be safer for him. He can throw down more auto attacks and even chuck out the Moonlight Vigil. Potentially to chuck out a little more DPS, but exhaust did stop the Moonfall damage tad.
Yeah.
So, now, it's the pros and cons.
We haven't seen Rift Herald get placed, and at this point, I think it's more going to be used for the Dragon as those kind of major resets are coming in. Divine Thunder should be finished or close for Fuyu. He was able to find a kill, so he gets a bit of additional gold. If a Glitter Lance interrupts him here, it means he's actually going to be a lot slower to the play on this Dragon play, and he might not actually be able to get his reset off now, just because of the fact there's already 2 plates down, and it could just make his life even harder. Jonatis looking just to clear out through the mid-wave, and with the help of 2 Cups, they're going to be able to get a lot of damage onto this tower. Sykes pulled up by the Zenith Blade. Teleports are coming in. Sykes gets pulled away. The Solar Flare's placed a little bit wide, and the bomb goes down. Jonatis dodges away with a Rocket Belt, but DBL able to secure the kill. Meanwhile, off in the mid lane, Info is running through 2 Cups, trying to find the kill. Can he get it? No, he can't. Yes, he can. Lockdown underneath the tower. Meanwhile, DBL comes in. The Moonlight Vigil over the wall by Impulse is huge, and Jonatis will lose his life to Screwmon. But here comes Fuyu, trying to find the tidy up. Unable to do so, though. And it was an absolute back and forth slugfest. At the end of the day, Enclave are the ones who come out ahead for now. As Fuyu has to be so careful. That's a buffed up Aphelios from the Lulu. Look at the damage he's doing.
Oh, yeah, man. The Calibrum plus those Chakrams as well. So much damage DPS that can come out.
Fuyu have a dragon for that?
Did what?
Oh, not a dragon, sorry. Is Divine Sundra.
Oh,
he didn't. No. So actually, that reset.
He didn't get the reset.
Rightly actually probably kind of won them that fight by just glitter lancing.
Potentially, there's room for it, but I definitely feel the fight when it broke out, sort of in that choke entrance on the Enclave side. Teleports and just Sykes being caught out so early on in the fight. You'll see the replay here. Locked up. Does actually manage to get out for quite a while. I don't think it really changes his fate at the end of the day, but it just buys time. And you can see on the top side, Info is running down 2 Cups, and DBL, he's just tanky. You see Screwmon and Rightly, they're not really able to deal that much damage to him, but eventually, very fortunately for them, you can see Impulse over the wall, plus all of the utility from that Lulu does help out in the fight.
Info actually did die. I didn't even notice that, but he did get killed by 2 Cups. 2 Cups has now finished up the Gale Force and almost fully stacked his coal, so we'll get a nice injection of cash in his pocket as he's clearing away the chicken camp. from Skumon, just denying him a little bit of gold.
Yep, so yes, all Infor. Well, I think it's actually going to be a pretty poor trade for Infor potentially here.
Yeah, dude, DBL actually flashes to get the reposition off as the Heartbreakers using Jonasis, bundles him in with the Moonfall. Infor will fall to DBL. That's 1 and 3 on the Viego now. Not the greatest game from him. Viu has to be a little bit careful. His support's going the long way around, and this tower might actually just fall here to Impulse. He's able to do some serious damage to it.
Yeah. Red plus blue, very, very powerful combination, of course. Red and white is typically the one where, you know, structures, neutral objectives.
Single target, basically.
Yeah, it's the single target guns that really start to shred through those objectives. But if NVision are able to secure that mid-tier 1, it's a pretty big deal into a Ziggs. It's like Ziggs' safe haven. Move that away from him, the pick becomes a lot less potent.
Well, Rift Herald's up in, yeah, Rift Herald's up in a moment, so we'll maybe see them look to move over to that side for that. But meanwhile, Skumon gonna help Sight shove this lane in, and it looks like Rift Herald might just be the next play here.
Yeah, could be the case. I think if you're NVision, you do want that. Certainly, if I look over to the side of Enclave, I say they've got a lot of items themselves, so they want to contest. They certainly can. I feel the strength isn't too bad right now. And actually, Moonstone completed correctly, which is a really, really big spike. So I think this could be a pretty good opportunity for Enclave to actually secure a fight that would likely go in their favor, removing execution. But if Infor gets caught out or chunked out too heavily,
John Disc gonna pull him in with a Moonfall. Skumon's on his way over already as he dodges the Protobelt. Ozden just flashes the wall. Here's the rocket, here's the bomb, but a big turnaround has broken out. Jonasis has to go gold in the middle of everyone, and 2Cups trying to kill Infor, able to do so in time, but Jonasis will lose his life in the meanwhile as they take out the support. It's a 3-1 in favor of Enclave, and NVision are just crumbling in these fights.
yeah, NVision weren't able to really find a good fight there. I think DBL did a pretty good job in the back line of Enclave, but he wasn't really able to find many members. And it was crucially rightly turning up to buff up Infor to keep him alive long enough to keep on wreaking havoc in what was technically the front line of NVision, able to take down Thanatis and all clones, I believe. So real nice from Enclave. And we kind of just said, right, if there was a moment for Enclave to already win a fight, it was then. The spikes was there. Yeah, 2Cups in trouble. Skumon.
I think if he dies, this could just be tower.
Yeah.
Gonna flash away, and 2Cups, that was just way too greedy for a bit of damage onto that top tower.
Yeah, is the tower even low on that side? is my question.
Low now.
As yeah, you can see Infor getting run down, but it's crucially rightly that turns up with the wild growth, which keeps him alive. Gets stunned up here, but there you go. Ultimate means that he is able to stay up. Heartbreakers into the sort of front line there, and you can see, look at the amount of damage that DBL does, and he kind of holds up a fair amount of Enclave for a little while, but they kind of just end up being pincered NVision, and it doesn't really matter when Infor was able to stay alive for that much extra time on the top side, dealing with Thanatis and Ultimates.
Well, tower in the mid lane does crumble. Finally, it had been chunked out pretty heavily by that earlier Rift Herald. And now, you know, instead of Ziggs, it's his safe haven. It's now been denied from him. 2Cups slowly but surely working his way towards this top lane tower. But with this Rift Herald here, NVision aren't really in the position to be able to contest it. So this will be the end of this tower as the bot from Shelly is going to go down. And Enclave actually escorting Shelly forward. They might just go for a second charge as the true shot. Not really going to do too much. And Impulse able to make short work of the waves. And they got the Ziggs, yeah, a little bit more. Pop goes the tower. That's 2 towers now.
2-for-1 trade, but you're talking about 2 mid towers. It's so much sort of map control to give up in the middle lane that you can already see sort of easy rotation out from that tier 2 up towards the tier 1. They even strip away some of the jungle camps. Now, granted, it's being answered out on the opposite side. Thanatis is stealing away jungle camps on Enclave's bottom side of the map. Still on the way there, and 2Cups also did get a tower of his own, but certainly still downward trading. As they're even going to funnel this final tower into Impulse.
He's got a Hurricane, he's got the shield bow. He wants him to work on that third item, probably the Infinity Edge. So just trying to funnel as much gold into him as possible. Make sure he hits that as quick as possible. Just been to base, and I believe that was a pickaxe or a BF base. It was a pickaxe.
Yep.
Base for him there, so a bit more AD. And, you know, sure, NVision took a dragon, but they lost 2 towers, lost 3 towers ultimately at the end of that. So not particularly the greatest play, especially when that dragon was a cloud dragon.
Yeah, and the Cloud Dragon, honestly, it removes a lot of urgency out of this game, in my opinion. Because I don't think there's really any great, you know, Cloud Soul users. There's a couple that where it's like, okay, super nice pad. You know, Xin Zhao, for example. Being able to sort of ult on impulse and getting all of the extra kite movement speed against the composition like NVision's. Super nice to have as well. And there's obviously arguments for NVision champs as well, but it's not an Infernal Soul, right? It's not, you know, an Ocean Soul where you've got a lot of sustain in this game in general. It just gives extra time to both teams to kind of scale up. And in the case of Enclave, I think it's super scary when you've got this Aphelios Lulu. Ziggs as well. We saw Ziggs deal so much damage yesterday. It's really obnoxious, but it doesn't seem like either team wants to put on the brakes here as Engage breaks out.
Looking for DBL, the Heartbreaker's thrown into the Moonfall. Enclave now looking to get turned onto his impulse. Has been wild growth. His damage is really spiking as look at the chakrams he's got. Culling will be able to send them packing, and nobody dies at the end of the day.
Bit of a damage check fight, really, but I think the key thing to sort of note is the summon spell's blown on the other side, right? Juan Assist no longer has flash, DPL no longer has flash, but crucially, Impulse no longer has flash. So if they're able to find an angle onto Impulse and Vision, they should win out on a fight because he has a lot of their DPS damage, but you still have to take into consideration champions like Viego with the reset potential. Xin Zhao can buy so much time with the Crescent Guard slash, plus the Gore Drinker and just all the sustain he has in general. And if Rightly doesn't go down, if he doesn't have Impulse to shield, shielding Xin Zhao or Viego, that's not a bad secondary choice.
Not at all. As let's take stock of the items once again, because you know that Mirror Mana very close to being finished up by Fuyu. Got the Divine Sunderer. You now got the Shielders Grudge and the Gale Force finished up on to 2 cups. Top laners working towards their Sterix, but neither of them are there yet. And Jonas' 2 items on the Diana. Got the Zonya's Hourglass finished up, while the Sterix of Screwmon not actually quite finished up yet. The Horizon's Focus has just come in for Psyche, so he's just finished up that one. It's gonna be a nice burst of damage, bonus damage now coming in for the side of Psyche.
Seeing how much damage those long-range sort of Mega Inferno bombs deal, or even just the max-range Qs, realistically, or anything past like 2 bounces when cast at max range. Just deals so much extra damage, just like 150 just off the item alone, just because of how the scaling works. So nice pickup, great spike for him to be on. And again, you know, we keep track of the items, obviously. Like you said, 1 assist, 2 items. Fuyu, Mirror Mana stacked up, so he's definitely online, but I'm looking at Fuyu and Tukam saying, okay, how and when are you going to get these damage, you know, this damage down off these items? Because you're on Spike, but Enclave, it feels like they're on Spike a bit harder. And it's all going to come down to me from the NVision point of view on what kind of engages they can find from DPL and the follow-up that can be there from Hunters.
We're only 23 minutes in. It feels like this game's been going quite a lot longer, but it's been relatively, you know, chill at the beginning, and then we've had a kind of spurt of action, and then like a quiet time. But the dragon spawning up in 30 seconds. May see some action around that, but again, it is a Cloud Soul, so it's not the most important one. Although the bonus movement speed on a champion like Aphelios, someone who, you know, doesn't actually have all that much mobility, it is always a bit nicer just to have that base speed. As Info needs to be a little bit careful. He's going to spot out 2 cups and Jonas.
Camouflage going to keep him safe though, as NVision, they're kind of set up on this Baron side. However, Enclave feeling a little bit frisky. They want to move in.
Oh, Info. He's going very, very low. He's going down. Jonas is able to find the kill, and Enclave not in position to follow up even slightly.
Yeah, no, just a poor position for Enclave to fight in. Realistically, Impulse can't walk into that little choke because of the control that NVision have in the river, just the ability to potentially come over the wall. Just gap close is too scary, and Wild Growth was used on the Viego, and now they're on the Baron. So let's see how Enclave are going to react, because they don't really have a lot of ultimates to poke them out here.
Well, Old Stones is going to be able to find Scumon. Impulse has pretty good guns, though, as he's trying to put the damage to turn around. Scumon,
oh my God,
the ultimate. Big shield comes in into the slam, but Impulse able to finish up. Fuyu goes in forward. Old Stone lands the lockdown, lands the stun, as this fight is so back and forth. but a shutdown was picked up for Fuyu, but they stopped the Baron crucially, and now they've got a teleport coming in as they look to hunt Fuyu down even more. Info going to get slowed down by the Shirelda's Grudge as he lands himself the slow, lands himself the stun, and Fuyu will be shut down by Info.
Yeah, and the Cloud Dragon is now up and available. If he wants to be taken by the red side, oh, it seems like they split out Hornetus somewhere. The Skull Crab, it looks like, and Sykes isn't going to let him go. They want to try and pick him up. I mean, if they can take him down, honestly, Baron is a potential option here. It's going to be a little bit of a slow rundown, though. Hornetus, however, doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, he doesn't going to go into the Protobelt, and Info will be able to make easy work of him. He's trying to dash, he's trying to dodge, but he's not going to be able to get it. Sykes finds the shutdown. And I think Baron probably not going to be on the cards, but that Dragon absolutely for the side of Enclave, and much needed pickup there.
Yeah, and can sort of slow down the game now for the next couple minutes potentially as Replay. I mean, just keep your eyes on Impulse, really. He's the man on Enclave that you have to watch, as he just doesn't get targeted all that well by NVision. It's not really their fault. They just can't really burst him down for a crazy long time. Eventually, Leona does lock him up and stun him for him to take lethal damage, but he just deals so much before he goes down that it just turns the fight into such a heavy Enclave favored affair. And that's really it. I feel like if you can remove Impulse from these fights sort of immediately, the DPS checks immediately start to fall a little more into your favor if you're NVision. Obviously, you still have a lot of damage champions to deal with across the board, but if he's out of the picture, things start to look a lot brighter, but that's what it's going to be about for me. Your Enclave, you just have to protect him. You've got the Lulu, you've got the knockback of the Xin Zhao as well if you want to play defensively in that fashion. Fuyu isn't going for the Frozen Heart option, he's going towards that Shirelda's, so he's looking for maximum damage output. To me, potentially a slight. I think if you have the extra armor, it can really help you out dealing against a lot of the composition of Enclave here.
It can, but I guess the other argument is the slows are also fairly useful for kiting these sped up members because of the Lulu.
Yeah.
But then there's the armor to protect them. I think there's pros and cons to both. Odds are the Frozen Heart's going to be the fourth item. It was basically the order of which these items were built in was really the main thing.
I don't know. I look at it, I say, there's not really a lot of armor on the Enclave side right now. You know, you've got 2 Ninja Tarbis and that's about it.
Yeah.
Blade caps, whatever. Do you need the armor pen that much over, you know, 80 armor plus the attack speed slow if you ever end up in range of Impulse, or just, you know, having Enclave have their divers potentially try and find their way onto you? I don't know. I feel like Frozen Heart's a strong third item, but neither here nor there. Like you say, the order is realistically probably also in discussion, as it should come out as a 4th item, but I mean, look at that. About 400, 500 HP off of one ability from this Aphelios. Feels a bit scary.
It is. He's got that Infinity Edge. He's on that kind of 3-item Aphelios power spike. And typically, you know, we said it so many times, but Ezreal is a champion who, you know, typically is outscaled, but currently doesn't really get outscaled. He scales pretty well himself while still having that mid-game power spike he always had. It's very bizarre. It's a very bizarre position we're in, where this is how this champion is.
Impulse actually almost has really, really good fighting guns. Now, he's almost out of ammo on the sniper. But if he can get rid of it... Okay.
Two-shot barrage, not going to hit him, but Fuyu, there's that armor pen.
Yeah, it's the armor pen, I guess. Working on those bases. As Two Cups doing his best to try and pressure the bottom side of the map. Remember, those tier 2s have so much gold in them. Of course, we are 29 minutes into the game, but I mean, if you're able to take it down by yourself, 600 gold, I don't think you're upset about getting it. So, Info doing his best to hold.
Almost max level as well.
Yeah, he's been farming up his spawn. He's above 10 CS per minute. And again, in that Ziggs lane, was relatively uncontested, right? He didn't play aggressively after that first blood, which Sykes also kindly handed over to him. And he just used it and ran away with it. And actually, now that you mention that, he is, you know, the highest level in the game by, well, only 1 level because Sykes is 16, but beyond that, 2 and 3 on pretty much the rest of his team. As, oh, actually, Baron start up by Hornetus. Seems like NVision want to try and get the party going.
Ooh.
As all the bottom side 2 Cups, yeah, like he's winning out on this slow push eventually. So what Enclave gonna do?
I think it was just a quick DPS check as a true shot barrage. It's onto Skumond as Shiroda's Grudge has now been finished up for Fuyu. He actually has Executioners as well to deal with the sustain and the healing. So might finish up that as his fourth item, but I really would like to see the Frozen Heart.
I don't think it's a terrible shout, but to finish it up. But again, I just feel like the armor is so necessary.
And we got Old Stones with the chains as well, so CT is going to last.
Yeah. We've picked on Impulse for not having Cleanse, and I mean, if he does manage to get locked down, he's not going to move. He's going to have to sit through it. However, there is actually Mikhail's picked up by Rightly. The game's gone on long enough that seeing a utility support actually have a second item in the support role now.
Oh, they're looking for the fight. They're jumping in on the Fuyu. He has to flash away his safety. Dodges out on the Moonlight Vigil as Impulse eating a full-on culling. The True Shot Barrage is absolutely massive, and there's a big spam coming in. Jonathis launches in with the Moonfall, and they look for the lockdown. They find Impulse, and this is NVision all over. Oh, actually, Sykes actually finds a turnaround. He gets himself a triple kill, gets a quadra kill. It's going to be looking for the Penta as he's trying to chase on the TPL. It's actually the shutdown. The Penta was denied as it's the quadra kill to round it out, and Enclave somehow turned that fight back around.
Okay, I'm going to be real with you, Jake. My feed practically froze the entire time, but that's okay.
Honestly, lagging so hard. That was a slideshow play-by-play for me.
It's okay, but I think for Enclave, once you saw Impulse die, you can immediately see how much easier the fights do get for NVision. But, I mean, it's just all about Sykes somehow. He manages to put out all of the damage, and NVision just kind of overcommit without taking into consideration how much damage he's putting out. And just from there, you kind of just see it's a slow rundown once they sort of walk through that minefield. Just too much damage to deal with, and we spoke about the scaling aspects, too, of this Enclave comp.
I didn't realize it was a minefield. I saw NVision winning it, and then my slideshow then just took us to a point where they had no health, and I was like, oh, what happened?
They all died.
Oh, looks like I have returned to normalcy. Thank God for that. That was hard work.
That's okay. All right, well, Fight HUD's back up, so let's see.
It was a close fight. It was a close fight both sides. Fuyu probably wants to find a little bit of poke just to start it off.
Yeah, I think for NVision now, if you can find poke off Fuyu, great, and then you try and look for engages off the back of that. If you're Enclave, just playing in a death loop, kind of like this, not trying to get hit by too many.
That's the support. That's the jungler picked up, and DBL trying to find the slam as everything goes red for the moment. The True Shot Barrage comes in. That was just the blood of NVision as the bomb lands onto Old Stones. He is chunked. He is down. Skumond will find him, and Enclave will find the Baron.
Yeah, Enclave, that should be Baron for them. NVision just not able to deal with all of the damage coming out from the carries of Enclave. It is too much work for them. Baron will be secured, and now, I mean, there's a lot of gold waiting locked in these side lanes for Enclave. Those tier 2s, 1,000 gold plus. Now they're actually hunting down Fuyu and Two Cups, who tried to trade the mid tier 2 tower. Are they going to get run down? That's the question. They both have dashes over the wall here, though.
Oh, Fuyu, he's not going to make it. Wind has become lightning, and the bomb will seal the deal. Two Cups is down.
Fuyu's down. That's okay. Two Cups still alive. Got the red buff. Walking out.
He downing the red buff. That's what I was meant to say.
Two Cups downing the red buff. Enclave suddenly sees what potentially could be a very, very commanding lead here. A lot of towers weighing off in the sides. But yeah, obviously replay is on our screen. It all starts with Jonathis getting picked off here. DBL all on his lonesome in the backline. Isn't able to achieve much without the rest of his team. And look at the damage that comes out of that Ziggs bomb. Is absurd. Skumond is able to pick up all stones. And from there, Fuyu plus Two Cups, they at least get that response in the mid lane. Eventually, Fuyu does get run down.
Well, the Baron is onto Enclave to try and close this out. Remember, you've got the Ziggs, so you have to execute. But 22 stacks on Sykes' Medjais as well. I haven't really talked too much about those items since the Horizon Focus. So, Void Staff plus Medjais plus Satchel, Dead Tower. Info able to take a tower about the Ziggs though in the bottom lane, and they do look for Impulse. He's Got a Guardian Angel as the True Shot Barrage is going to land onto him. He's going very, very low. The bomb goes out, hits onto DBL, but the res is there, and Skumon looks to join into the fray as he gets locked and rooted into place as Impulse finds himself the kill. The Heartbreaker's coming in from Impulse. He's trying to find a bit of additional damage as Tukovs dodges away. But Enclave able to turn the play, able to turn the fight once again. And NVision just have to go back to base. They have to go heal.
Yeah, and with the Lulu, they can shield off Skumon. You can see they're face tanking the tower. Even though they don't have a minion directly underneath the tower to sort of weaken it, they've got that cannon as well, and Baron just going to be able to secure that inhibitor. It's like they want to move to the bottom side. They don't want to give up. They've got 40 seconds left on this Baron, give or take. So trying to pick up 2 inhibitors here, at the very least crack open the base. Again, on this bottom side. It looks very, very doable with the Ziggs of the Aphelios. NVision just don't have the numbers right now. DBL still got a respawn up.
Jonatis about to get that Moonfall back up, and they're looking for the flank. The inhibitor goes down. Oldstone's trying to get in position, but won't be able to do so. Right, it's just going to be the Baron recalls coming in. Maybe Tukovs can play interrupt onto Rightly, as the culling is almost enough to kill him. Forces out the wild growth. They're looking for the rest of the resets as Jonatis is trying to chase in. They're going to interrupt the resets for now as they continue to jump in forwards. Here they come. Jonatis, can he get in range? Can he find the Moonfall? No, he can't. Only onto one. The Solar Flare connects onto Rightly as Skumon is slammed back, and that is going to be the kill. The flash hook by DBL. Impulse is kiting away. His GA is down, but he is doing so much damage.
Oh my God.
Can't find the kill as he's just able to jump away to safety, but here comes Tukovs, able to mop up the kill. Enclave are routed once again as they lose 2 members.
Goodness me. Impulse, what year is it? On the Aphelios. Almost showing us why this champion can be still so oppressive at this moment in time. But this will be Dragon going over to NVision. So the next one will be Soul for either team here. 3 apiece. But again, Cloud Soul, right? So there's not that much urgency in this game in terms of dealing with the Soul points. It's going to be about the Elders, if anything. Now, Sykes potentially face checking. Got a replay coming up here.
He has Impulse with him.
Take a look at Skumon. He buys a lot of time, but just look at Impulse. He just, the life steals up so much. You've got the healing and shielding of Rightly as well, and just how much DPS he's able to put out in a position like this. It's eventually Oldstones who gets the lockdown. In4 was doing his best to keep the Leona away from his AD carry, but fortunately, Zenith Blade goes to the last target hit, so for can't body block an ability like that.
Well, ooh, there's the total damage cell. That's Ziggs. It's all Sykes, baby.
Yeah, you know, this Ziggs pick. Anytime we see it in the UKLC, always gets insane damage numbers, working at over 1,000 damage a minute at the moment. Not too shabby a stat to have on a spreadsheet.
Still, you got the Serpent's Fang now finished up onto Tukovs. He is at full build. He is at max damage. And being able to cut through that shield is going to be really impactful because you got 2 Sterix and a Lulu and an Immortal Shield Bow. There's a lot of shielding on this team. Yeah. So being able to cut through that will help, but M4 now looking to try and take an inhibitor, but he's going to get run down by Tukovs, who's able to do a lot of damage to him. The Heartbreaker won't dodge away from the culling, and Tukovs finds an easy kill. That's a 60-second death timer just before the Baron spawns up. Really problematic as Impulse does land a quick Calibrum shot.
Yeah, big window potentially for NVision to find something else on the map potentially. As
that's a single mine.
Yeah. Ziggs is balanced, but if they can find him.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
Moonlight Vigil's going to land into the Graviton. 2 members locked down for the moment. They're jumping away. The slam's coming in. Can they buy the time for DBL? The shield's there. Sykes is down. The True Shot Barrage going to rip through a couple of members, but Impulse is still untouched. Rightly going very, very low for you. Can't get in range. Can't tidy it up. And Jonatis will lose his life. A double kill picked up for Impulse. And Fiyu just has to run to the wind. He is scattered. And this could just be the game. The death timers are still long. Tukovs not coming up for 35 seconds. And Enclave might just have won the game off the back of that one.
It's got to be the end game here for Enclave. It's just for you alive. He has no flash. It's Lulu plus Aphelios and the Xin Zhao to face tank. And now Hin4, despite dying at the start of this play, is even going to be here for the picture. Perfect finish, almost. Enclave, it's a scrappy one, like almost every Enclave game is, but they're going to pick up the win.
It was maybe closer than it needed to be, but NVision do finally fall and Enclave find the win and get a bit of a redemption after losing to a Graves yesterday.
Yeah, Graves, you know, you focus on the Graves a lot. I think the bigger issue is that they lost to Lulu Jungle and Graves at the same time, personally, because, you know, Graves, he ended up, Graves is a strong champion right now. You know, he does still deal a lot of damage like we saw yesterday. But Enclave, they fall onto the scaling. They rely on Impulse. So for me, you know, Impulse has to be the star carrier of this roster almost every single game. And they did in the key moments, but it was Sykes, realistically, that we saw the damage graph before the game ended. He had
Sykes did a lot of
damage of everybody else.
Sykes did do a lot of damage, but we actually are going to be chatting with Info, but that's going to be after this break. So for now, we'll see you in a moment because we're going to go chill.